Erik Spoelstra. Wow, just freaking incredible. This is Sports Guy Talking that you guys are watching and listening to. I am Dustin Tran, your host, as I am joined by guest Cincere Koonce today to debate about just how impressive Erik Spoelstra has been for the Heat. Erik Spoelstra coached his way into forcing an upset for the Heat as they stole Game 2 at Denver. With a furious fourth quarter rally, the Heat have now tied the series at 1-1, heading back into Miami for games 3 and 4. Before I say anything else though, I want to present you guys with a topic question. So here it is. How much credit should Erik Spoelstra receive for winning Game 2?
100% of the credit, because the way he was able to send Gabe Vincent with his 20-point game, I think that he made perfect adjustments to Jokic and Jamal Murray because they was able to hold him to 18 points, and that's usually not hard to do because in every game, Jamal Murray usually averages like 30 points a game. So how he was able to have Jimmy, Bam, and Vincent both combined for like 60 points, yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah, I got to give Erik Spoelstra a lot of credit as well. I've been really impressed with the coaching job of Erik Spoelstra, not just in this NBA Finals, but throughout the NBA playoffs. He has turned this Miami Heat team into the greatest 8th seed that we have ever seen in our lifetime, maybe even in the history of the NBA. What Erik Spoelstra has done has been no joke. He has turned the Miami Heat into the cardiac Heat. And what do I mean by that? What I mean by the cardiac Heat is that the Miami Heat, they just know how to come through in clutch time. Yeah, the Miami Heat might not have the greatest roster ever. Yeah, their team might be severely flawed. Yeah, their team might be made of undrafted players. But he puts those players in positions to succeed, and he makes them know how to show up in winning time. If Jimmy Butler doesn't have a great game, Erik Spoelstra understands, hey, I don't have to just keep calling plays for Jimmy Butler to get going. Let's try to get other players involved. Let's try to put Kevin Love into the starting lineup. Let's get Gabe Vincent involved in the offense. Let's get Max Strus involved in the offense. Let's get Duncan Robinson going with the three-point ball. And let's get Bam Adebayo going with those mid-range jumpers that he's been taking recently. Bam Adebayo is not really known for being a jump shooter. Well, that's exactly what Bam Adebayo has done in the finals. Yeah, he's never going to beat you by shooting 16, 17 feet shots or even necessarily from the three-point line. But if he takes a little 10-foot floater, if he takes a little baseline jumper, sure, he can go ahead and do that. And Erik Spoelstra has done a great job adjusting to what the Denver Nuggets do. He knows the Denver Nuggets are bigger, faster, and stronger than them. But to Erik Spoelstra, it doesn't matter to him because he knows, hey, we got the smaller and more skilled guys, so let's go ahead and use those coaching skills into good use. Let's put Gabe Vincent at the three-point line. Let's use him as a combo guard because we know that Gabe Vincent isn't a great passer. He knows that Jimmy Butler might not necessarily be a great player every single game. He's been fantastic throughout the playoffs, but in the NBA Finals, he has played far from great. And Jimmy Butler has turned into just another good player, but he knows that doesn't matter. They're not dependent on just Jimmy Butler winning. However, I'm not going to agree with you about 100% of the credit because I don't think anybody should get 100% of a credit after a game just because it's just too hard to do. I think Erik Spoelstra should receive 70% of the credit because Erik Spoelstra did play a huge role in the Miami Heat winning Game 2, but let's not discount those other players because it's not exactly like Erik Spoelstra was playing basketball out there. He was just coaching basketball. And when you look at what Erik Spoelstra is doing, it's been pretty incredible. And to be able to put those players in positions, I got to give him a lot of credit. But how about Jimmy Butler being great on the defensive end of the floor? How about Bam Adebayo being great on both offense and defense? How about Gabe Vincent hitting down his shots? How about those role players showing up as well? I give 30% of the credit to the players that are on the roster because they were the ones that showed up. And the Miami Heat have an unusually large rotation for the NBA Finals, but they're making it work.
And also, too, what I recently just found out about Jimmy Butler is that his dad is actually going through some medical issues or something like that. So that might play a role on why he just played average. But even still, Erik Spoelstra was still able to make plays for everybody else. That's the most important reason why they won that game. And because they hit the important shots they needed to hit. They might not do it early in the game, but they're going to do it when it matters the most. That's what I like about the team.
And how about the defensive game plan that the Miami Heat have for the Denver Nuggets? They realize that Nikola Jokic is apparently going to never have a bad game in the NBA playoffs. When we talk about the best players in the NBA right now, all of them have had a bad game at some point, unless your name is Nikola Jokic. They realize that, hey, Jokic is not going to have a bad game, so let's just go ahead and let him score all the points because we appreciate his greatness. Just let him keep taking those 2-point shots while we beat them from 3. And the Miami Heat realized, hey, we got to slow down guys like Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Bruce Brown, and those other role players for the Denver Nuggets because it's not exactly like the Denver Nuggets or a super team out there. They're not even really that good of a team. Yeah, they're a good team, but they're not a great team. So they're realizing, hey, Nikola Jokic is a great player, but the rest of the Denver Nuggets team isn't a great team. Let's go ahead and find ways to slow down Jamal Murray by putting Jimmy Butler on Jamal Murray. Let's go ahead and turn Aaron Gordon into an offensive liability. Let's turn Michael Porter Jr. into a guy that can't do much of anything when his three-point shot is falling. And speaking of Michael Porter Jr., that guy quit on his team yesterday because he didn't show up on the defensive end of the floor. It's like he didn't see a couple shots didn't go on offense, and he was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm not going to play hard. And that's why Mike Malone called him out after the game. That's why Michael Malone was saying, hey, just because you miss a couple shots on offense, that doesn't mean you get to take the rest of the night off on defense. This is not a preseason game. This is not a Tuesday night in the regular season. This is the NBA Finals that we are talking about. And I agree with Michael Malone right there. I thought Michael Malone couldn't have said it better about Michael Porter Jr. Sure, he didn't call him out by name, but I'm pretty sure everybody knew who he was talking about. And how about Kentavious Caldwell-Pope constantly fouling jump shooters from the three-point line late in the shot clock? Those are 6 points right there, and they lost by 3. So if Kentavious Caldwell-Pope doesn't make those stupid moves, the Miami Heat don't win this game. But credit to Coach Spoelstra for putting Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in a bad spot where he had to foul those jump shooters and putting those jump shooters in positions to draw fouls. Because what did we say after game 1? Man, this Miami Heat team, they don't know how to draw fouls whatsoever. So Erik Spoelstra says, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and bait those defenders to jump into my jump shooters and draw contact from that way. So I got to give Erik Spoelstra a lot of credit there.
Yeah, the reason why I was putting my fingers because of the fouls, too. It was a lot of unnecessary fouls that Denver delivered, and that is the big reason why they couldn't come back in this game. Like, if Pope didn't foul the way he did in the other players, they would have absolutely come back from this. And if Jamal Murray would have hit the last shot, they would have went overtime, but it was still the downfall. That's what slowed them up.
But here's the thing, though. The Denver Nuggets didn't really deserve to win Game 2. Had they won Game 2, I would have said, yeah, you know what? This Miami Heat team, they're not going to have much of a chance in the series. The Miami Heat played spectacularly well. They ran a really good game plan against the Denver Nuggets. For them to hit 17 threes in just 35 attempts, that tells me that they were taking three-point shots with efficiency, and that they were taking good shots, and that they were making good shots. And even though the Miami Heat ran a great game plan, it still seems like they need a lot of things to go in their way in order to win that series. But let me go ahead and ask you this, though. Who wins Game 3 in Miami?
Miami by double digit, because I believe that when it comes down to the fourth quarter, Miami will hit the important shots to win the game.
Well, I respect your pick with the Miami Heat, but I'm going to go ahead and save my game pick for Wednesday's video because there is another video that I am going to be talking about this. But either way, though, it seems like it's going to be a good game. The X factor is going to be whether or not Tyler Hero returns for the Miami Heat for Game 3. So that could possibly provide the Miami Heat another scorer that they could desperately use. And surely Tyler Hero could be a better player than Duncan Robinson. But we'll see how that plays out. All right, well, thanks for being on the show, Cincere. Appreciate you coming on here. All right, make sure you follow his Instagram at Cincere.Koonce. Again, thanks for being on the show, man.
All right, anytime, though.
All right, see ya, bro.
All right, see you.
Yup, bye. That was Cincere Koonce that you guys just heard. All right, so he's going to give 100% of the credit to Erik Spoelstra for why the Miami Heat won Game 2. Meanwhile, I'm going to give Erik Spoelstra 70% of the credit for why the Miami Heat won Game 2. Either way, though, very impressive for what the Miami Heat did in Game 2 to tie the series up in Denver, as this is the first home loss for the Denver Nuggets in the NBA playoffs this season. Still, though, it seems like this series is far from being over. So that is why Erik Spoelstra should receive 70% of the credit for winning Game 2. Remember, go ahead and subscribe to Sports Guy Talking, like the video, and please comment down below. If you guys do that, I may shout you guys out in my Instagram story every Monday. That'll be for the @DustinTran Instagram account. Make sure to follow me on Instagram @DustinTran and @Sports Guy Talking. Also, go follow me on Twitter @DustinTran. Again, go ahead and do those things that I just told you guys to go do. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the content that was just produced. Peace out. I hope you enjoyed that video. Want more Sports Guy Talking, the home of great sports content? Make sure you click that subscribe button to get the latest from Sports Guy Talking. Go ahead and like the video. Comment down below. Check the description box on the video in order to follow my Instagram and Twitter. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from the YouTube channel Sports Guy Talking.